The African National Congress Tshwane region last week elected Dr. Kgoshi Maepa, or rather Maepa, as a regional chairperson. He is well regarded as a student of former ANC President Oliver Tambo after writing a thesis titled Oliver Tambo Legacy, Paradigm and Thought, and is a look at the life and work of the former president. And joining us in studio is indeed the new regional chairperson, Dr. Kgoshi Maepa. Good morning to you, and congratulations are in order. Welcome to Live Report. All right, so you were already picked to be the front runner in the regional conference in replacing Sputla Ramokgopa, and the values you're regarded as somebody who is very well astute with an illustrious career and also resume. Just talk us through that process, whether the slate, or rather unity slate, won in Tshwane.
Okay, good morning, Cindy, and to all the viewers, and thank you for having invited us here. First of all is that at a conference of the ANC, always there's an issue of contestation. But what we have seen in Tshwane this time was very different, and in one way, one can say that the decorum of conference expressed and espoused the values that we have always stood for as the ANC, to show that members of the ANC were well disciplined, and then they had an intention to revive and renew the ANC at conference, and we saw that from the beginning to the last day of conference. So I can say that amid all the contestation that happened at conference, there was high levels of discipline at conference, and we're happy about that. And to put the icing on the cake, there was high levels of intention to have forged unity, and that's what the outcome of the REC is. It's a united ANC in Tshwane.
Yeah, and as by the nature of elective conferences, that there is a lot of mobilization, having to persuade people through, I suppose, ideas. You're regarded as a political strategist. So talk us through how then the values of the ANC, that of renewal and unity, you had employed to ensure that this conference was a success.
One of the things that we did very well during our campaign was to remove the issues of money and to fight factionalism, because members of the ANC in Tshwane, as you will know, since 2016, they have been plagued with issues of patronage, of factionalism, of a principle we call Ferua Principe, the leader principle, where you seen that people were following the cult of personalities instead of looking at the ANC. And that has cost the ANC a lot of votes. There was violence as well associated. So there were problems in the ANC. And what we did in our strategy was to actually fight against that and tell people that we want to bring something new, we want to go back to the ANC values and actually promote the ANC than the person.
And how do you rid that personality cult? Because if you look at the popularity of Sputla, for example, that you now have to take over and in a sense regain the confidence of the residents of Tshwane, let alone the members of the ANC.
First of all, I want to say that the ANC and its strategy, it's about people. The ANC is people. The revolution is about people. And at the center of the program of the ANC all the time, it must be people. It can never be any person. It cannot be Kgoshi or any other person for that matter. Kgoshi is just the face of what the ANC values that they want to bring, service delivery and other things they want to do in Tshwane. So it's never about any person, but it's about the ANC. So to get confidence of people of Tshwane is first of all to focus on their needs. And we have made a proper needs analysis of what it should be done, but we'll go back to the people to confirm.
Is it a deficit of ideas in dealing with, especially what had been regarded as a spectacular setback for the ANC in Tshwane with the 2016 local government elections, that this is essentially about damage control with a build-up to the elections in 2019?
I must accept that there were mistakes that were committed in 2016. I have alluded to the issue of the cult of personality. I think it's something that we dealt with at conference. Secondly, we realized that we had to rebuild structures of the ANC to be fit and proper structures that can be used to mobilize society back into ANC. That's why we talk about ANC values, because society has been exposed to those values before. It's not something new that we are coming with. It's something that the ANC has always set certain values. It's just the characters that were involved were not promoting that. So that we have re-established, and that's what we're taking back, to rebuild structures of the ANC. That's our first task. We only have two tasks. We call them twin tasks. That was the first one. The second task is to reclaim the City of Tshwane back. And I'm sure you'll want to ask me in detail that. I'll give it to you.
No, exactly, because you do not have the luxury of time. And as we're saying that the damage has been done, in how you're going to now undo the coalition government, because it's also not guaranteed that the ANC will have a landslide victory in the elections 2019?
Let me just also expose monumental failures of the DA. Actually, the DA never won in Tshwane. It got less than 50%. To win an election outright, you have to get 50+1. So in Tshwane, as we speak, no one has won elections. There is a coalition government, but there are monumental failures that came with that. For example, as you have flighted before this interview, in Hammanskraal, there's a lot of protest there about water, about the conditions, about bacteria that were found in water and so on. And your reporter actually indicated that the water was not for human consumption. We can tell you that when the ANC was there was a blue drop status in terms of water. We were the municipality with the highest level of clean water in the country. So right now the DA has reversed that. That's what people are protesting about. But there is also, to a large extent, no service delivery in townships in Tshwane. All the 8 townships of Tshwane are not experiencing the same service and even or better than we had when the ANC was there. All the resources of the municipality have been taken to affluent areas, and that has impacted a lot on our people. So when we go back to our people, we have had, even before this regional conference, the 10th regional conference of the ANC, people already complaining about service delivery. So we know exactly what the people are saying, and it's the monumental failures of the DA government.
Yeah, but in their rebuttal, they will say it's because of the maladministration, the backlog, the corruption, and the fact that they adopted a city essentially that had been bankrupt, and they are now just trying to clean up the mess that the ANC had left in the previous administration.
Delivery of basic services has nothing to do with ANC. Delivery of basic services has everything to do with the leadership, political leadership of the municipality, competently qualified people who must do their jobs. So it has nothing to do with the ANC. You can't defer that and put such an excuse. That's quite a lame excuse, to say the least, that if the DA is saying that it's because of the ANC that all these things have collapsed in front of them. They've been there for 2 years, and for the 2 years they've really done nothing much to improve or to do something different. So they can't blame the ANC.
Okay, let's go into your strategy going forward now as the leader of Tshwane, and under your team, Aaron Maluleke as your deputy, Eugene Modise as provisional secretary. You will tell us about that cohort of leadership that is now in place, that is going to do things differently.
According to the Constitution of the ANC, there are 25 regional executive committee members. And in that, we are majority are women and young women for that matter. So the ANC in Tshwane has really put forward a renewal program as espoused in the Tumamina program. So as the ANC in Tshwane, we have started in earnest to advance Tumamina in Tshwane, in the country. And Tshwane has been a shining example over their 10th regional conference. I come here with renewed hope and confidence that with all the people that were elected, we'll be able to advance the program of the ANC. And what is that program of the ANC? The program of the ANC in Tshwane is very simple. It's to reach out to our people, to come back and vote, because people did not vote against against the ANC. They just did not come. And as a result of the problems that we earlier discussed. So in Tshwane, as things stand today, is that many of our people are saying the DA must be removed. They are ready to go to elections, and we are mobilizing them to start first in 2019 to show that the ANC indeed will get far above 50%. So our litmus test is 2019 elections. We want to see the watermark, our high watermark in 2019 elections.
I mean, the economic freedom fighters, of course, had opted for the DA as a lesser of the evil, and you are now tasked with having to persuade, I suppose, or woo them to be in your camp. How's that going to pan out?
Always you must be in the people's camp. It must never be about our... If anyone, any coalition partner wants to come, they must be in the people's camp. And what is the people's? The people's camp, it's a camp where we help the Africans in particular and blacks in general who are suffering under the DA government right now. Because the DA has brought back racial exclusivity in Tshwane, where services are only given to affluent areas where you don't find majority of our people. So anyone who wants to work with the ANC must work with the people. So if it's the EFF, if it's any other party that wants to form coalition government with the ANC, we'll welcome that. But first, at the centrality of it, it's about the people.
You have a monumental task, though, because you have to essentially go back to at branch level, where you are saying that, you know, to instill confidence, where some may have even become defunct or disgruntled. So how are you going to then go back and restore the branches to the level of high governance and the values of the ANC, as you allude to?
For the past 3 days that we have just been elected as a regional executive committee, we had a lot of branches already calling that they want to go back and renew their mandate. And many people have actually been going to the ANC office to look for membership. We don't know why. Perhaps it's people that they were waiting for a new leadership of the ANC in Tshwane. So we are undated actually with inquiries. So we know that people want to go back to the ANC. What we are going to do is to actually just instill the value systems of the ANC, as I said, to make sure that those branches are fit and proper, to make sure that they follow ANC constitution, to make sure that there's no gatekeeping in the ANC any longer, to make sure that there is no factionalism in branches. And we have seen that as a decorum, as I explained on the decorum of conference that we came out of.
Yeah, ANC policies are second to none, lauded, and in fact, if not emulated by other parties as well. The issue has always been about implementation, planning, monitoring, or whether there is fresh ideas in implementing the aspirations or fulfilling the aspirations of the majority people.
Yes, the ANC has always been about the people. The ANC has espoused a lot of it. Society actually has been spoiled about the quality that the ANC, the best among us, has provided over the years to make sure that we lead the revolution. And the ANC now in Tshwane, we are advancing the same program, just to build on what has been done. So we are not doing something different that was not done over the 106 years of the ANC. We are actually building on and coming up with fresh ideas, but also to modernize the ANC. That's the biggest agenda that we have, to modernize the ANC in branches, to make sure that the ANC use technology and more sophisticated methods of mobilizing, of speaking to people, and making sure that we advance our idea of virtual branches, to make sure that even people who don't physically come to branches participate, because we want to increase participation in the ANC through technology, but also through physical contact in branches.
But perception, if not managed, it could be quite detrimental to the efforts that the ANC has made. And so, just in closing, in how the opposition would like us to believe that the ANC has become synonymous with corruption, with cadre deployment, with incompetence, etc. So how are you going to change that mindset or narrative to restore the image of the ANC?
As I said on our second task, which is the second part of the twin task that we have in Tshwane, is to make sure that when we go back to the city, which we believe we're going to go very soon, is that we want to make sure that people who are deployed, because opposition is complaining about deployment of the ANC, that we deploy competently qualified people with skills and knowledge, people who understand what is happening, but moreover, people who have the interest of the people at heart. By their qualifications, but there must be people who have interest of people at heart. Because the DA, for example, right now, there are far more than OCAM people who are employed by the DA who don't have qualifications, and we'll expose that very soon. So the opposition is complaining, but they are worse than the ANC. The DA in Tshwane has the worst record of employment in terms of qualifications, paying people salaries they don't deserve.
Regional Chair, we're going to leave it there. Again, thank you so much. Congratulations to you and the leadership that was elected over the elective conference in Tshwane. Thanks indeed for your time.
Thank you. I'm humbled. Thank you very much.
And that's Dr. Kgoshi Maepa. He is the Tshwane Regional Chair, newly elected. And you're welcome to share your thoughts with us. That's at Afro Worldview, #live report. We have to take a break. We'll see you shortly.